yesterday, in the middle of all of this, the Premier, Doug Ford, he adjourned the legislature early. Like we were debating all these important things. He adjourned it early so he could get all the MPPs from his government out to a big fundraiser event he's having at $1,500 a plate. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
It is Friday, November 21st, and this past Wednesday, Marit Stiles, the leader of Ontario's NDP, was kicked out of the legislature for calling Doug Ford and his government corrupt. And here to talk with me this morning is Marit Stiles herself. So thanks for being here, Marit.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so give us a bit of detail of what's been going on in Ontario, because I think a lot of my audience is in Ontario, but some of them are not. So give us some background and some context of what's been going on specifically with the Skills Development Fund.
Right. So this is a fund that just about every province has one. I believe it's actually federally funded, but it's usually managed by the provinces, and it's a fund to support training, retraining programs and things like that. And, it's a really important fund, actually. It does really important things, especially right now where we're seeing a lot of layoffs here in Ontario, a lot of big hits on the auto sector and stuff. And so it's a really important fund because we need that kind of program. But what's been happening here is that unlike in other provinces where they have like a standalone body or, agency or civil servants who rank the projects that people apply for and then pick which ones. The government here got involved, and the Minister of Labor and his staff actually personally took applications that the civil service had ranked really low, bumped them up to the top, and got them millions of dollars. And what's been made very clear is that they're connected to the Conservative Party, whether it's the minister himself or the lobbyists that they're hiring. So what happened is, like, a lot of these companies that got bumped up to the top of the list and got millions and millions of dollars, they hired the Conservative Premier Doug Ford's campaign manager to help them, right? The Minister of Labor had rinkside tickets to the Leafs game with the CEO from one of the companies that he hand selected. And we've seen this kind of pattern over and over. The Minister of Labor was in Paris with the lobbyist who worked for one of those companies that got money, that was, again, not ranked high, like the bottom of the barrel, and then somehow got bumped up. So the Auditor General said, she called it preferential treatment. And I call it corruption because we see, the Minister of Labor, suddenly he's getting all these donations. But this isn't new for this government. It's a lot like what happened with the Greenbelt. Some people might remember that whole scandal a few years ago. That's still being investigated by the RCMP here, actually. And in this case, now we've got a couple of these programs, these companies that are being investigated by the OPP. So I just got kind of fed up. I see, and I felt like I had to call it like it was.
Well, we see, I think a lot of us have heard about the Greenbelt because that's been going on for a long time, and now we're hearing a lot about this spa that's being built,
Right.
And lots of issues surrounding that. And now we're hearing about the Skills Development Fund. I think, yeah, from what I read online, there was 64 projects that were ranked low or medium, and they received $126 million in funding. And so, who's going to investigate this? Who's actually going to hold the government accountable? Because I think a lot of people, they hear all the time, oh, these investigations are ongoing, and then nothing ever happens.
Yes.
So who's investigating them? I mean, we've heard the RCMP and the OPP, but is there another level or check and balance for this government?
Like I said, the Auditor General was the first one to look at this particular program and see these issues. So that's already pretty clear. And it's I guess you have to ask yourself, like, it's sometimes it's hard to prove the actual law was broken. I mean, I assume that's why the RCMP is taking so long with the Greenbelt investigation. But I think there's also just a common sense part to this where it's like, no, you know what? That doesn't sound right. And I think people know it. We know it, right? And I think a lot of people have kind of come to think that, well, that's how politics is done. All politicians are dirty, and you just have to know people, and they only help their friends. But that's not how it's done always. And that certainly doesn't have to be how it's done. And we know that in other provinces, like, they keep this stuff like from an arm's length from the politicians. I always say the problem with this Skills Development Fund in Ontario is not the fund, it's the politicians that are controlling it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I agree with you, they get a little bit disheartened that, they see politicians all over the place just sort of giving their friends money, and they just got so accustomed to it, they just think that that's how it works.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Do you think Doug Ford is corrupt?
I think that Doug Ford, yeah, I think we've seen corruption with Doug Ford and his government. I think we've seen them, and by that I mean that they are making decisions that directly, with the intention of directly um, profiting friends of theirs, business connections, people who donate to their party, and I call that corruption. People have said to me, well, like when I say that word in the chamber of the legislature, in a sense, I'm protected. Like nobody can sue me
Right.
for what I say. I can't say the word because it's out of order, because it's not polite. but I can't. I can. But to say it outside, I've been asked a lot. Aren't you worried that these guys are going to like sue you or something? And I've said the same thing, even with the Greenbelt. If they want to sue me, great, because that would actually mean that we'd be able to access a whole lot more information about the scandals I'm talking about. So if they want to prove that they're not corrupt, then let's see how they made these decisions. Let's open up let's shine a light in all those dark corners and see what's really going on here. There's no question that the conservatives here in Ontario, like they've upped the donation amounts that people can give. Yesterday, in the middle of all of this, the premier Doug Ford, he adjourned the legislature early. Like we were debating all these important things, he adjourned it early so he could get all the MPPs from his government out to a big fundraiser event he's having at $1,500 a plate. Like, you can't make this stuff up. So, I mean, I think there's definitely preferential treatment for their donors and friends and family, and we've seen it over and over again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks so much for being here and doing this. I know you're on the road, so thank you so
On
much.
my way
And
to Peterborough.
on your way to Peterborough. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Can I just say one more thing, Cole?
Sure.
It's the thing that's really bothers me about all this is, I mean, obviously that bothers me, corruption in government, and it should bother everybody. But I'm the leader of the opposition here, so it's my job to call out those things, to hold the government to account, and ensure there's more transparency. But what really gets me is that what we're seeing here in Ontario is really massive job losses right now. We've got more than 700,000 people unemployed right now in Ontario, the highest youth unemployment rates in the country. It's really bad here right now, and a lot of people are struggling. And so it makes my blood boil that the government is focused on this kind of thing instead of actually addressing those real issues that people have. And I think that's why it's resonating with a lot of people, because they're sick and tired of it too.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to watch what's going on in Ontario and think why is this government not being taken down?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
time will tell, and that time
That's
will come.
right. All right. Well, thanks so much, Cole. It's been great chatting.
Yeah. Thanks so much. It was great chatting. We will talk to you again soon.
Okay. No problem. Take care.
Thanks.